As we have all heard last Cairn, the practice of symphysiotomy has left a devastating effect on women over a period of decades. Barbaric acts were inflicted unnecessarily against women who were at their most vulnerable state. At a time where joy for a newborn was to be expected, women were subjected to a procedure that would alter the rest of their lives forever. The procedure was carried out on up to 1,500 women and resulted in a wide range of short and long-term complications. As we now know, these included walking difficulties, hematoma, incontinence, infections, and pelvic joint pain, amongst others. I remember in my day at Las Cairn, I remember well the indignity of having to be shaved, to have enemas, and having episiotomies, and all to spare the blushes of the male doctors in those days. And little did I realise at that time that things were worse for a lot of women. Indeed, watching the primetime programme that was done on this matter some short time ago really brought home the effects of this procedure. The acts unconsented to amounted to institutional abuse, and I cannot see any retrospective justification for them. This 18th century practice was alive and well in the 20th, when other countries around the world were phasing it out. Indeed, the technique does not form any part of the Irish curriculum of specialist training, and is apparently only taught as an emergency procedure. Why then, alas, Cairn was a practice that was being phased out internationally, being utilised by doctors in this country? Why was it that in some cases the procedure was even carried out after the baby had been safely delivered, let alone before or during birth? Why on earth were doctors with saws allowed to perform pubiotomies? Survivors of symphysiotomy are a group that have come together to answer questions like this. And I know there are a lot of women in the gallery, and I too, like the other deputies, would like to welcome them. And in particular, a good friend of mine from County Wicklow, Mary, and her husband, Billy, who have, Minister, I have to say, have unsuccessfully lobbied ministers, previous ministers, about this to get justice on this issue, and have failed to do so. These women represent only a fraction of those affected by the practice, and I know well that many women have passed away and others are unable to make it here today for reasons of health. I understand that the SOS group are seeking resolutions on a number of matters. These include the lifting of the statute bar to enable women to seek redress through the courts, the setting up of an independent commission of inquiry, and access to promised health benefits and entitlements to be enshrined in statute. I know the Minister for Health has received a draft report on the practice of symphysiotomy from an independent academic researcher. I understand also that this has been sent to the Attorney General for her consideration, and the report, subject to her views, would then be made available for consultation. It is important that in the intervening period, until decisions on what will be done are taken, that women have easy access to support services from the HSE. This has not been happening to date, and I know that some individuals have not been able to even access their own medical records. I would urge SOS to press on, to keep up the pressure on politicians to act. Groups like SOS are fundamentally important in bringing to light the dark side of an Irish society that likes to hide in the shadows. Barbaric acts that happened in the past are brought to the fore when a few people come together who are committed to see justice done. That is why the work that a coalition like this does should not be underestimated. And indeed, I am reminded of that saying, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. I am very heartened to Las Cairn that there is cross-party support on this issue, and I too would like to thank Deputy O'Quillan for convening the meetings and for getting it all going. You really are to be congratulated. I very much hope that justice sought by the SOS can be realised and go some way to addressing the grave wrongs that have been done. But in the meantime, I think we all hold our head in shame.
Thank you, Deputy.